Hashana, we should be on Dalet Dalet, correct?
It's good.
No.
It's good.
Originally, they accepted testimony regarding the new moon all day. And once the witness was delayed in arriving, and the Levium blended in the daily hymn, so they ordained that they should accept new moon testimony only until the mincha, and that if witnesses came from the mincha onward, that day should be kept holy, and the next day should be kept holy. After the temple was destroyed, Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai instituted that they accept new moon testimony all day. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha said this too did Rabbi Yochanan and Ben Zakkai institute, that even if the head of the Beis Din should be in another place, the witnesses should go only to the place of the assembly. This is the order of the blessings. He recites the blessings called patriarchs, the blessings called powers, and the blessing called holiness of the name, and includes the kingship verses with them. For the person designated to blow does not blow the shofar, he recites the blessing of the holiness of the day and blows, remembrances and blows, shofaris and blows. Then he recites the blessing of the sacrificial service, the blessing of the thanksgiving, the blessing of Kohanim. These are the words of Yochanan ben Nuri. Said Rabbi Kiva to him, if he does not blow the shofar at the beginning of kingship, why does he mention it? Rather, he recites the blessings of patriarchs, powers, and the holiness of the name, and then he includes kingship with the blessing of the holiness of the day and blows, remembrances and blows, shofars and blows, and then he recites the blessing of the sacrificial service, the blessing of thanksgiving, and the blessing of the Kohanim. They recite no fewer than 10 kingship verses, the 10 remembrances verses, and the shofar verses, and Rokan ben Nuri says if he recited 3 verses from each of them, he has discharged his obligation. He should not recite any remembrances, kingship, or shofar, which alludes to punishment. He begins with the verses from Torah, concludes with the verses from the prophets. Rabbi Yossi says if he concluded with verses from the Torah, he has discharged his obligation. Okay.
Yeah. Over lifnei hateva b'yom tov shel Rosh Hashana. So this is the Baal Tefillah, the Chazan of Rosh Hashanah. Hasheni maskia. So we only blow shofar during Musaf, which is a very interesting thing because normally we're very into Zrizin Makdimin LaMitzvahs. Why would we delay the shofar until Musaf? We're used to it. That's just the way it's done. But if you think about it, if you were like Chazal and you were setting up how to do mitzvahs, you'd normally say do it as early as possible, and that is taka what they used to do. But there was an incident during the Roman occupation when the Romans got up in the morning and heard the Jews blowing shofarot, and they thought there was a rebellion happening, and this had tragic results.
No.
So they said, "Okay, we got to change things.
No.
Um, we have to we have to change this so that we do it at Musaf, so that when the Romans wake up in the morning, they see that we've been in shul all day, and and the shofar thing is just part of the davening. So that was the takana.
Is that also the reason why we say Shema earlier? Isn't that the same thing? They heard Shema and then they just say that the same part of it?
Um, I think that was a different one. I think it is when there was a decree against saying Shema, which is why they added it at the beginning, right at the early during just after brachas. There's a thing where you can say Shema there.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay. So that I think that was for the opposite kind of a reason. Anyway, Ubashas Hallel, on days when we say Hallel, in other words, on other Yomim Tovim and Rosh Chodesh, Harishon Makre is Hallel. So it's the Baal Tefillah for Shachris who says Hallel. No, okay, and that's how you'd expect it. It's something that want to do the mitzvah sooner. So get the tadir stuff out the way, the things that happen every day. So Shachris, Shema, and Amidah, and then you do the mitzvah of the day of the Hallel. Okay. Shofar shel Rosh Hashanah. Ein ma'avirin alav es hatachum. So now, what this Mishnah is all about is about telling us that even though the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is minat Torah, that there's a mitzvah asay minat Torah to blow shofar, it does not override any negative commandments, and even if they are rabbinic. And why you'd normally say that if there's when there's an aseh and a lo taseh, aseh is doche lo taseh. So, for example, if you have a linen garment and you need to put tzitzis on it. You put tzitzis on it because asay doche lo taseh, even though it's shatnez. Okay,
Right.
but here we don't say that because actually it turns out that listening to the gezeres of Chazal is an asay and a lo taseh. You must listen to them. You must not disobey them.
Right.
So basically, what it turns out is that there are lots of things that you cannot do. You can't violate any mitzvahs in order to blow shofar. So, for example, it gives a whole laundry list of things that you can't do over here. In Ma'avirin alav is at tchum, so you cannot leave the tchum to fetch a shofar, even though you don't have a shofar anywhere else in the town. And there's one just outside the tchum. Even in the Torah, right? Remember the tchum Shabbos is only is if the 2,000 amas is drabanan, but Torah it's 10,000 amas I think is the so you can't even leave the rabbinically designated tchum to get a shofar because that okay you don't even though it's a mitzvah asay in Torah. But in mefakhin alav hagal. You can't violate muktzah. You've got a pile of stones, and you know that there's a shofar underneath them, but the stones are all muktzah. You can't move them. Lo olin ba'ilan. You can't climb a tree to find the shofar. What the shofar was doing in the tree, let's not ask. But if the shofar was in a tree, you cannot climb it. Lo rochvin al gabe behema, and you cannot ride an animal in order to get up to the place where the shofar is. Velo shatin al pnei hamayim, and you cannot make a boat float on the water. You can't get on a raft and go in the water. But lo ve'ein choschin oso bein b'davar shehu mishum shvus or bein b'davar shehu mishum lo taseh. And if you have to fix it up so that it's blowable, you cannot make any a tikkun to the shofar. Whether it doesn't matter if it's a darabanan or a daraisa. You cannot make any tikkunim to the shofar. Aval imra tzalitain lesocha mayim or yayin yitain, but you can rinse it. So if it's dirtier, you need to give it a bit of liquid to make the sound better. That is fine. That's not considered a tikkun. Ein ma'akvin es hatinokos minitzkoa, and there's no need to stop the children from blowing the shofar. Now, why would you want to stop them from blowing the shofar? I don't know. Maybe because it's annoying, but aval misaskim imahim ad sheyilmadu. Rather, help them, teach them how to blow, and that's a good thing. Okay. V'hamisasek lo yatsa. If somebody it was just blowing the shofar because they were having fun, blowing out a tune, and it happened to be Rosh Hashana, that's not you can't be yotzei your mitzvah from listening to that. V'shomea min hamisasek lo yatsa. And if somebody's listening to it and says, "Oh, it's Rosh Hashanah. This guy's blowing shofar. Let me listen to it." You can't be Yotze unless he himself has kavana to fulfill the mitzvah. You can't be any better than the person who's blowing the shofar. And if he's not Yotze, you're not Yotze. Okay. Seder tekiyos. How do you blow the tekiyos? Shalosh, shel, shalosh, shalosh. There are three sets. Well, this is talking inside the Amidah. We also have our set at the beginning and our set at the end. And shalosh, there are three sets, each one with three blows. And well, actually, that's assuming that we know what the shavarim, what the trua is in the
Right.
middle. Okay, but we have the three different versions of what trua is. There's shavarim, trua, shavarim, and terua. So we actually blow sets of 10 in between. Okay, shiur tekiah shalosh teruos. The length that you have to blow for a tekiah is equivalent to the length of 3 teruos, which in our context over here, in our modern day language, we call that shavarim. So the tekiah has to be at least as long as the length of the 3 shvarim together.
Okay.
Shiur terua keshelosh yibavos, and this what they call yibavos is what we call terua. So each blast of the shavarim must be equivalent to the length of 3 teruas. Okay, so in other words, a tekiah is 9 teruas.
Okay.
So
All right.
So that's that. So when the makre is sitting there with his watch, that's what he's looking at. He's
Mhm.
timing how long the tekiah is, and it must be longer than either the shavarim or the teruah that's in between.
I never understood
What?
that whole thing. I never blew a shofar. I have no idea. I have no concept about that. Doesn't seem so easy though.
Taka barishona umashach b'shniya kishtayim. So what happens if he blows tekiah and he blows the shavarim in the middle, and then he blows the second tekiah, but he holds it for a long time, as long as two blasts. Ein biyado ela achas. He's only blown one. You've got to make a break, so you can't say that is now the tekiah ending this set and beginning the next set. That's all you've got is one tekiah. Mi sheberach ve'achar kach nismana lo shofar. Um, so what happens if the kehila did not have a shofar available? And so they say, okay, honest, Rahmana Patre, we don't have a shofar. We're going to just daven all the way through. They finish the Amidah, and then somebody runs in and says, I got a shofar. I've got a shofar. Okay, what do you do now? Tokeh umeireh v'tokeh shalosh pe'amim. Then you've got to blow the shofar and with shofar three times with tekiah, trua tekiah. So your basic minimum is 10 to be yotze. That's it.
Uh,
Okay, that is the minimum share min Torah. We actually it's saying it's three, but because of again we're not entirely sure which what the true is, whether it's the shavarim or the yavava. So we do the 10 as the minimum, but our minhag is to blow 100.
mhm.
Okay. Kishem sheshliach tzibur chayav. Kach kol yachid v'yachid chayav. It's not just the shaliach tzibur has to hear the shofar. Everyone has to hear it. Beg your pardon. The chayav. We're not talking about the shofar. We're talking about the tefillah. Um, so so of course everyone's used to the weekday Amidah and people daven by heart, but nobody's davening by heart when it comes to Rosh Hashana, especially Musaf. Um, Okay. And just like the Shalech Tzibur is chayav to say it out, every person, every individual who can daven must say it. Rabban Gamliel omer shaliach tzibur motzi es harabim yadecho basan. But in the case of Rosh Hashanah, says Rabban Gamliel, if somebody is unfamiliar with the tefillah, they can actually stand and listen to the Baal tefillah saying it and be yotze from that, which we generally discourage nowadays because. I mean, on weekdays, because people should be able to daven by themselves they're davening every day. Um, but when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, um, then because it's much more complicated, if people are whether they know how to daven, whether they don't know how to daven, says Rabban Gamliel, it's fine to be yotze with the shaliach tzibor.
It-
The,
it- uh, um,
hmm?
I'm sorry. Didn't we say that there's something about which one I can't forget who it was now. We over the crying of the we try
Yes,
to imitate.
Sistra's mother.
Right, right.
Yeah,
There
so
was
she cried 100. She cried 100 tears for her evil son. Uh,
right.
okay,
She was happy with him. So yeah.
yeah. Hadran Alach, Maseches, Rosh Hashanah, and tomorrow we start Tainus.
And Olive Tess.
Yes, let's go.
The person saw the new moon but cannot walk, they may bring him on a donkey, and even on a bed. And if an ambush awaits them, they may arm themselves with sticks. And if there was a distant journey, they may take food in their hands, since for a journey of a night and a day they may desecrate the Shabbos and go forth to render testimony about the new moon, as it is said, these are the appointed times of Hashem, when you shall declare in their fixed time. If they do not know him, if they do not know him, they send another pair of witnesses with him to testify about him. Originally, they accepted testimony about the new moon from anyone, but after the heretics did harm, they enacted that they should not accept testimony except from known people. Originally, they used to light torches, but after the Corinthians did harm, they enacted that messages should go forth. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay, okay, and we are on to Tanis. Tomorrow we start Tanis. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just start with Tanis first and Rosh Hashanah tomorrow. Rosh
So
Hashanah
we'll do
first.
the Chazara to end Rosh Hashanah, and then we'll go into Tainus.
Sukkah. Okay, base gimel. If one makes a sukkah on top of a wagon or on the deck of a ship, it's valid. And and we may go up onto it on the festival. If he makes a sukkah on the top of a tree or on the back of a camel, it's valid, but we may not go up onto it onto the festival on the festival. And two balls are on a tree, and one is man-made, and two are man-made, and one is in a tree. It's valid, but we may not go up onto it on the festival. If three walls are man-made and one fits is in a tree, it is valid, and we may go up it on the festival. The general rule is whatever the tree can be removed and the sukkah can stand by itself, it's valid, and we may go up it on the festival. If one makes a sukkah between the trees and the tree serves as well, it's valid. And those who are engaged in the performance of a mitzvah are exempt from the mitzvah of sukkah. Ill people in their attendance are exempt from the mitzvah of sukkah. We may eat and drink casually outside the sukkah. Okay. Yeah.
And one more.
Really? You skip one?
The Mishnah Hay.
Once they brought Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai some cooked food to taste. And to Rabbi Gamil, they brought 2 dates and a pail of water, and they said, bring them up to the sukkah. But when they gave Reb Tzadok food smaller than the volume of an egg, they took it with a cloth, ate it outside the sukkah, and did not recite the benedictions after it.
Yeah. Erevin.
Okay. Excuse me. If a town of an individual became public property, we may make an error for its entirety, but if a public town became an individual's, we may not make an error for its entirety, unless we exclude from an area that is equivalent to the town of Kadasha in Judea, which are 50 inhabitants. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. And Shimon says 3 courtyards containing 2 dwellings. One who was to the east and had told the son, make an arrow for me in the west. To the west, he had told the son, make an arrow for me in the east. If the distance with him to his house is 2,000 cubits, and to his Arab more than that, he is permitted the tachum of his house, but forbidden the tachum of his Arab. If to his Arab is 2,000 cubits, and to his house more than that is forbidden the tachum of his house, but permitted the tachum of the Arab. One who places his Erev in the extension of a town has accomplished nothing. If he places it beyond the Tchum, even 1 cubit, whatever it is, he gains, he loses. The residents of a large town may traverse an entire small town, but the residents of a small town may not traverse an entire large town. How so? Well, one who is in a large town and places Erev in a small town, or in a small town and places Erev in a large town, may traverse its entirety with 2,000 cubits beyond it. But Rabbi Akiva says he has no more than 2,000 cubits in the place of his Arab. Okay. Okay. He who possesses 200 zuz may not take leket shikha kapea or masa'ani. If he had 200 zuz less one, then even 1,000 given together, he may take. If they were mortgaged to his creditor or to his wife's ketubah, he may take. They do not compel him to sell his house and his utensils. Whoever has 50 zuz and who trades with them may not take, and whoever does not need to take and take will not depart from this world before being in need of his fellow man. And whoever needs to take and does not take will not die in old age before he will support others from his own. Concerning him, Scripture states, blessed is the man that trusts in the Lord and whose trust is the Lord is. Similarly, a judge who delivers a truly righteous judgment, and whoever is neither giga or blind or Pisach, and who feigns to be as one of them will not die in old age before he becomes like one of them, as it is written. Justice, justice you shall pursue, and every judge who takes a bribe and perverts judgment will not die in old age before his eyes grow dim, as is written, and you shall take no bribe, for the bribe blinds those that have sight.
Demai, please, yes.
Yeah, okay. And we have one in Demai. The following are treated gently and expected to mind: wild figs, juju fruit, crab apples, wild white figs, sycamore tree, unripe dates, gufin, and caper fruit. In Judea, also zumak, Judean vinegar, and coriander. Rabbi Yehuda says all wild figs are exempt except dufra. All jubra fruits are exempt except the jubra fruits of shishmona. All young sycamore figs are exempt except those that burst open. Okay.
Elam.
Okay. Hey, darling. An oven that was heated from the outside, or that was heated within his intent, without his intent, or that was heated in the artisan's workshop is tamei. It once happened that a fire broke out among the ovens like Kifar Sigar, and the came to Yavavna, and Rabbi Gilm used the oven's tamei. The supplement of the oven of household is tahor, but that of bakers is tamei, because it supports the spit on it. Rabbi Yochanan says he bakes because he bakes with it when he's hard pressed. Similarly, the supplement of the cauldron is olive boils is tummy, and that of dyes is tahor. An oven that was filled with earth up to its midpoint, the area from the earth and downward contracts tuma via contact. The area from the earth and upward contracts tuma via airspace. If one placed an oven over the mouth of a pit, over the mouth of a cistern, or placed a stone there, Rabbi Yehuda says if he lights a fire below and the oven is heated above, it is tummy. But the Rambam say, since in any event the oven was heated, it is tummy. Okay.
Right.
All right. We are
And
on.
Basra.
Okay. And okay, Dalit Hay. One who sells an olive press has sold the grinding block, the millstone, and the post, but he has not sold the boards, the screw, or the beam. And when he said to him, it and all that is in it, and they are all sold. So Elias says, one who sells an olive press has sold the beam. One who sells a bathhouse has not sold the boards, the benches, or the curtains. When he said to him, it and all that is in it, they are all sold, and in any case, they did not sell the water reservoirs near the stores of wood. One who sells a town has sold the houses, pits, ditches, vaults, bathhouses, dovecotes, olive presses, and irrigated fields, and not the movables. When he said to him, it and all that is in it, even if there were cattle and slaves in it, they are all sold. Thereby Shimon ben Gamil says, one who sells a town has sold the century.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Have a great day.
You too. A wonderful day.
Yes, enjoy. I go to the dentist, so
Okay.
have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.